What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mad Chatter podcast. We got Angelo Asinato back on.
I'm back.
He's back. Is he wearing the same shirt?
Am I? I don't know.
It was plaid, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I'm a flannel guy.
Well, Angelo, you were nervous to start the podcast.
I was.
I
feel pretty good now, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel way better about this one than the last one, especially given our pregame talk,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah.
I feel like it was helpful.
Okay. What do you think that is, though?
What do you
Because
mean?
we have conversations all the time, but as soon as we turn the camera on, it's just like,
Well, now I think it's like that whole. Sorry, I'm gonna work on that. Now I think it's that whole like, regardless of even if it's like not that many people watching, it's just like, well, there is a pressure because now like everything that you say is like out there now.
yeah,
And you could like people can go back and be like, oh, you said this happened, but this really happened. You know what I mean? You can go back. I actually remember you and Nick talking about that in a certain segment on the first podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just the fact that it's documented and that people can look at it, and not just the people who we know who are watching it now, like anybody can just check it out. And so now it's like our personalities are on display, so to speak, for everybody to see. So
making me that's fucked me up already.
I don't know. I think that was just like my best explanation of why. Even though it's just us sitting in your fucking house right now,
Yeah.
just us, like it's still.
Also,
We know everybody. People are gonna see this, and we're gonna have conversations with people about it afterwards. So I don't know. That's where I think it comes from for me, for sure.
we also keep hearing about like cancel culture. Like that's been drilled into us, which I actually want to do whenever I start doing the YouTube channel, I want to like start doing topics on things. Like let's really dive deep on cancel culture. Like
I mean,
what the hell is it? Does it actually exist? Because they're trying to cancel Joe Rogan and having a terrible time. Like they're really not even doing a good job of it.
I mean, they've definitely successfully done it to a bunch of other people before. I think the.
Do you have an example?
Fuck. You know what? I guess off top, no, I don't.
Yeah, because
haven't
I can't
spent any
think of
time.
anybody. They're like, oh, yeah, they canceled Dave Chappelle. They didn't cancel
didn't.
Dave Chappelle. People
Nobody
love Dave Chappelle for
Yeah.
being honest and
Yeah,
speaking
you know
his
what?
thoughts.
I guess as far as just off top knowledge goes, I don't have any like. I feel like there is. I just don't know of it.
I feel like if somebody gets canceled, it's because they should actually be canceled. It's not just
Good lord. Yeah.
not just some woke left, or let's just say woke crowd. I mean, there's plenty of woke people on the right too. So
I think it would be really difficult for anybody to cancel Joe Rogan anyway, though, because he's not an extremely close-minded, opinionated guy. Like he's like oh, my brain just stopped working. Like J. Cal was talking about on the All In.
yeah,
He's kind of a for the people type of guy who's just trying to present multiple viewpoints on his show, and he does a really good job.
They
of
were-
doing that.
they were talking about how after that one episode, I told you watched it.
Yeah, well, I watched like I think maybe 15 more minutes of it after they were done talking about
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, but I do remember a part
No, I was
there
talking
which-
about the what are they called? What's going on in China with the? I got word Uyghurs coming to my mind. Uyghurs, okay, Uyghurs. I'm like, that's not right. Oh, yeah, the Uyghurs, and about how they were in concentration camps and stuff. And
I did not get to that part.
oh, you didn't? You may have not watched that then, because I've told you to watch that a couple different times. But yeah,
It
they
was
were
the most
basically.
recent one they did, right?
No, it was like
Oh.
a few weeks ago.
Then I don't. Yeah,
It was whenever, they were talking about how the internet tried to cancel them because J. Cal was like on the side of the people. Everybody was like praying up J. Cal, and
You're talking about an episode where they were calling back to that, where they were recalling when they.
yeah, well,
that
like the next
that-
episode they came out, they had to like immediately open it up with like statements to make to the people that were getting all pissed off about it.
Yeah.
What was it? I can't even recall a quote or anything in particular, but basically people were like mad at the three of them that weren't J. Cal for being insensitive about the Uyghurs' plight. and I haven't
Yeah,
even done any
there's,
research into it.
Yeah, I think I don't think I either didn't listen to that podcast at all, or
Yeah.
I didn't listen to. I know I didn't listen to the one where they were, the one that they did that almost got them.
Yeah, because it was like
canceled
it was
so
a
soon.
whole humans rights thing.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember.
He said, "I don't
Freeberg
care."
yeah, I just remember Freeberg and J. Cal talking about it a little bit in one of their.
Chamath, Papitia, whatever.
Yeah.
Polyhopatia.
Yeah.
I got it right.
Can't remember what is that. What it is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he was
the
saying
dictator
he's
himself?
like, I don't care about the Uyghurs in China. And then he's like, no, I mean you should care, but like his definition of caring is, if I care, I'm going to do something about it if I can. And he's like, I'm trying to do all these other things. He's like, but everybody's virtue signaling that they really care. Oh, it's terrible, but what have you actually done to stop or try to help?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really have any. I don't have any direct thoughts about that one way or the
I
other.
don't know. All in podcast shout out. Learned a lot of good shit.
Can I just be dumb for a second on camera and ask, what is virtue signaling again?
Basically, I've never had anyone ask me that, so now I feel pretty stupid. You know when you ask me, like, what's the definition of that? I'm like, well, I know how to use it in a sentence, but I'm not sure I can
Yeah,
give
because
you
I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Virtue
I
signaling,
don't.
what I think, what I, like, when I say it, it's almost like I know what it is when I see it, but, like, trying to explain it. It would be me screaming, fuck, that's a good one.
Would it be something like you screaming Black Lives Matter on a
Yeah.
rooftop to like boost your views or something?
Yeah, okay, so it's basically
Pandering
me,
to a movement or something.
yeah,
maybe?
me acting like I care, but I really don't care. Virtue, like I look like a good guy.
So
I'm trying to
just-
look like a good person.
Okay, so just putting on.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look good for my own things. Not that I actually care. Like, Elon Musk is so bad because of this and that. Like, you done nothing, but people look up at you because you're trying to put down a bad person, which really is a waste of your fucking time, anyways. Sorry. So
Clear on that.
we got different topics here. We can talk. I don't have any rapid fire questions
Well,
today.
I picked the first one. I think you can take it away with
Okay.
the
Okay. Let's see here. Let's talk about your prepping.
Oh Lord! All right, we'll coming in hot, going in right away.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Highway 80 style, baby.
all right. Well, what would you like to ask the magical wizard of prepping?
Well, like how to start.
How to start?
Yeah, like
I think a good starting point for people who don't really know anything about it or don't.
no. How did you start
Oh,
prepping?
how did
like
I
what
start?
got you into prepping?
Oh, I think the best way that I could probably recall it would be like close to. Actually, it's kind of funny. It was like close to. I think it was pretty much when I met you. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think that's when
I
it
was the
started.
trigger.
No. What it was me having a little bit of that extra money in my pocket, and I was able to buy some guns.
Yeah.
So it
where it all
started
started.
it started with me buying a couple of guns. Well, it all started with a night. Sorry, I'm gonna not do that anymore. That's on the etiquette board to not do. So I started with a little 1911 model 22.
Uh-huh.
And then it went from that to I think a 380 that I got, and so I started getting into buying some guns, and then I wanted to learn how to actually like take the guns apart and clean them and stuff, and be able to use them properly and make sure that I could keep up with them, and then I bought my first 45, and I think somewhere along the way all of this was influenced by YouTube in one way or another, YouTube videos. Excuse me. And so I think somewhere in there I found a couple of prepping videos, because most of the time when you're in the algorithm, you know what I mean, like, and you're looking up gun videos and stuff, a lot of times prepping videos will be directly linked with that stuff. So I think it went from gun cleaning videos to like it hooking me up with what would be like gun review videos, and then gun review videos turn into gear review videos, and then I turned into one of those people who, like, now I didn't know shit about it when I started, so I made the grand mistake of, for like 2 whole years straight, I was just buying and trying really cheap gear and stuff like that, and not really doing much research on it. Like, I was just kind of like addicted to the dopamine hit of buying new gear. And so it started with like backpacks and camping gear, cheap stuff, cheap knives, stuff like that. And then I think it probably took me until I got into the apartment. So I was probably doing it for like three years.
Yeah, once you had your own space too.
Yeah, and that was another thing that really helped. So once I got into the apartment, you know, I was still like, I was into the bug out bag part of it. So I just had like a bug out bag. I had a survival bag, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then I had like, you know, a couple of pistols and a shotgun, like a very simple little layout. And then the bug out bag videos and stuff like that is what really took it off, because the bug out bag videos led me into a bunch of actual preppers who really do this stuff for real, and aren't just guys who have a bunch of stuff and don't do anything. Guys who actually do training, guys who actually have like people who have homesteads and who are able to be self-sufficient. And so it went from me being a gear whore to me wanting to actually get to a point to where I could, you know, where I can officially, that's a big goal that I have right now, is efficiently sustaining myself and stuff like that. So I tried to fill as much as I could in there. That's kind of like, that's you got any? I know what's going on for a minute there. You got any?
No. How much money do you think you've spent on prep?
Like on everything as a whole, or
Yeah,
just like
everything as a whole: guns, food,
guns,
bandages.
ammo, between. So it would be food, water, medical, and guns, and then ammo to go with those guns, and then gear would also be I think probably just in those 6 areas, easily $15,000-$20,000.
All right, so what we're going to do is plug that into the calculator and see how much money you would have if you invested that all in Tesla stock.
Oh my God, I don't want to do that. It's just going to make me feel bad.
Over $200,000. Imagine all the gear you could get then.
Yeah, well,
this is a message to people.
Yeah.
Don't have hobbies. Buy Tesla stock instead.
Yeah, the only problem with it is that like the problem with the prepping thing is that like you want to be ready all the time, and the issue comes in whenever you want to have. It's like something now is better than everything later.
Yeah.
Because it's like the idea is like if the shit hits the fan today, or if some ridiculous thing happens in the next week or two, that Tesla stock that was supposed to grow over the next 10 to 15 years isn't going to do me any good now when I need the stuff now. So it's like I get into the thing all the time where I'll try to do the most research that I can. Like food and water is one of those things that I'll spend money on.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Ammo is also now one of those things. It used to not be that big of a deal 2-3 years ago before COVID, but now with everything, you know, being as expensive it is, I would as expensive as it is, I would add ammo to the food and water list of things that just don't really depreciate. Like those things are going to hold their value.
Yeah.
But as far as like, you know, the stuff that I do have that I probably that I bought relatively recently, recently enough to where we could say I knew enough to where I could have put that money into Tesla. That thought process just always comes in, and you know, with all of these different things that are going on all the time, and now stuff's getting even worse. It's just like that impending doom fear, you know?
Yeah.
And it gets really difficult to get away from it. I mean,
well, yeah, I was going to ask, since we've had this conversation so much, like, where are you at right now with the idea? Because
right now, it's kind of funny because this is something that I've been wanting to talk to you about for a while.
Yeah.
But I've actually talked to a couple of people that I know. I'm not going to mention any names right now.
Yeah.
But I'll talk to you. I'll like give you a little bit more in depth, you know, version of what I'm talking about here when we get done. But I've talked to a couple of people. A buddy of mine who you may already know who I'm talking about, who's got some land. And I talked to him about him and 2 of my other friends. Talked to them about doing like, you know, a homestead situation. And man, I've been doing a lot of kind of soul searching lately, I think, and just trying to figure out what's going to give me the most fulfillment. And you know, I think I may have mentioned it on the last podcast that I'm trying to, put out more TikTok videos and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm still working on getting closer to quitting smoking again. And I think I don't know, all these things that I'm trying to do, I'm either doing things to distract myself or trying to think of things that I can do to give me progress. Quitting smoking is one of those
Well,
things.
distract yourself from what?
From, I think, from anything that I'd be trying to distract myself from right now would be the fact that I know I could be doing more
Yeah.
to get myself to certain goals. And I think now that this homestead idea for me has become really real over the past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Like I've really, really put a lot of thought into this to the point where I've sat some people down and talked to them about it. And one of these people who I mentioned, my buddy who's got some land, is absolutely down for it. And that was like one of the biggest yeses that I needed. I remember bringing it up to you a time ago, just finding a good group of people to do life with.
Yeah.
Like, I really want that.
Fill
Like,
your car up.
I feel like I need that, I feel like I need that. That's what it is. I was talking to my sister about it a little bit, and I didn't say that I thought that I needed it. I was just kind of talking about it, and I just like, dude, the life that I'm living right now just gives me anxiety. Like, and a lot of it's because I don't know. There's so many things that are out of my control that if I lived the life I'm talking about, wouldn't be as much of an issue. Not that I want to be a control freak. I understand that there's plenty of things that are out of my control. It's just like things like my loud neighbor.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that I have to go through just to either get away from that or to get her evicted. At the end of the day, she's a human being. She's a woman. She probably has a job. She's got kids that are extremely loud, and it makes my life a living hell. But it sucks for me that my option is to either complain enough about her to where she's evicted from her home.
Yeah.
Or move out and, give up my deposit and a whole month's rent and stir up my sister and her boyfriend who just moved here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, me who will now be moving for the second time in less than 3 months. So it's just like when stuff like that happens and when I'm over here getting anxiety about, whether or not I'm going to be able to go and get that last stock up at the store before the Russia and Ukraine thing pops off and makes prices of everything go sky high. And we're
gonna have to get into the Russia Ukraine thing a little later, but
I know I'm going on a little bit here, but I just like this is how I'm really feeling about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like there's much filler here. So that's so yeah. All that to say, the homestead thing has become very serious for me lately, and that's like kind of where I'm at with the whole prepping thing now. Like,
so it's interesting. Like I'm being mindful of like my thoughts when you tell me stuff or Austin tells me stuff. Like anytime someone's telling me they're like spending money on something, like I feel like my lens, like my purpose in life right now is to achieve financial independence. So everything gets filtered through that first lens. Like imagine it's a telescope and that I don't know shit about telescopes. Terrible analogy. But yeah, so your glasses essentially. What lenses are you wearing that is your first set of lenses to see through the world? So whenever you say, yeah, I want to do this homestead stuff, I'm just like, you should be taking that money and investing in your future in a different way. That I've always said, invest in the future that you want, not the future that you don't want. Now the homestead in particular, that's just cool. Assuming society functions as normal, but we've had so many talks about prepping for the apocalypse. You don't even know what type of apocalypse. But I guess I was saying I have this financial freedom lens that runs through when people talk. I immediately project my thoughts about what people are doing with their money. So what I'm saying is like, what do you think your lens is that first and foremost you view
think,
like what do you project onto people as much?
Man, it's a pretty interesting question. I think it depends on what I'm most concentrated on that day. because it changes for me. I've realized that.
So there's like no overarching thing, because to me it's
I
consistent.
I think maybe yeah, the prepping thing is like kind of an overall like thing like for me, but I don't feel like I project that as much onto other people when I talk to them about things. But it depends on the person that I'm talking to and what I'm thinking about that day. Because if I'm thinking about all the stuff that I could be doing to live my life healthier, like if that day I'm thinking about, man, I need to be running, I need to be working out, I need to be eating better today. Like I'm gonna be looking at everybody through that lens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pointing out in my head. I'm gonna be looking at people eating unhealthy stuff, and I'm gonna be judging them and catching myself. Going, what the hell are you doing? You're like judging other people, but you're really like just projecting, you know, the judgments from yourself onto these. I don't, call anybody out for any. It's all in my head. But if I'm thinking about prep stuff that day, I'm picking out all the things that people are telling me about that, man, you should, I'm in my head, I'm like, man, you shouldn't even be paying attention to this stuff that you're telling me about. You should be considering this stuff that's going on in the world and getting yourself
So when
ready
you're in that state, like when you're in that frame, you must be looking at me like I'm crazy as shit. You're like, man, you got all these resources, but you don't have any practical ones.
You know what? Honestly, man, like, I can't stress out about what you're doing anymore. I would probably have killed myself by now if that was something that I really let get to me that bad. I think about it sometimes, yeah, but I just care so much about you that I am willing to be the asset guy when that happens. Like, because if things work out, I don't know, just right now in the moment, like, this isn't like how I think about it all the time, but just right now in the moment, like, if things do go bad or whatever, no, you don't have shit, but I do.
Yeah.
And I have no problem sharing everything that I have with you, which is enough.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind that. Like, I've thought about it a million times, like, the medical training class that I want to go to, like, all of these things, like, contribute to my main concern of being able to provide for other people that I care about if I needed to. Of course, I'm included in that.
Yeah.
But it's like, we've talked about this a bunch of times. Like, more than a fear of death or more than a fear of losing everything, my biggest fear is easily watching other people who I care about suffer, having to watch other people go through things that I can't help with if things go real bad. So if shit does go bad before you have a chance to buy all these assets, well, good, I can be fucking Captain Save a Ho out here. But if things go well, then I've also been thinking about that a lot more too, and taking a good amount of my money and delegating it towards, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to find an even balance to where I can still get some things and serve the purpose of having it if I need it, rather than needing it and not having it, and also having an amount of money that I can delegate to financial freedom.
Okay.
And also, I would like to add one more thing to that. In my head, the homestead thing is like almost the entire branch of financial freedom for me. Because if I can just get some land and then, get enough materials and build my own structures on it, like from a couple of the people that I've talked to, if these guys are, serious about going in on this with me, I'll have help to build these structures. Yeah. And so I'll just need materials. So however, in my mind, I'm like, if I can just get to that, I might be able to get to that in 5 years versus being like, having like a whole bunch of money in like 10 or 15 years. And if that's the case, like, that's fine. Because if I can figure out how to sustain myself, then I'll just I'll do what a lot of these other guys do, and I'll YouTube. I'll get my homestead figured out, work my ass off and save up what I need to and get that stuff going. And that is like kind of another branch off of financial freedom for me, because that's my way of detaching a whole bunch of things in everyday life that we need, like little bills and stuff like that, grocery bills, stuff like, and I'll be able to provide for myself and only need, like a few things that I would have to pay for. Getting solar power out there would be like another, but also that goes right back to I'm going to need funds for that. Yeah. So either way, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
For me, I'm thinking, of course, I want to do something similar or like some sort of friend commune where, it's all local. We grow our own food, we got our own power, we have our own water, very off grid. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm not sure where that's going to go down yet. And like my plans are really ambitious. So like I want a lot of land and a really
Yeah.
nice place and like I want some luxuries.
For sure.
Uh, but all that aside, I was gonna ask just to like kind of get in your head a little bit. We just make up percentages. So like your funds allocated to, uh, let's say prep versus investments in a future where the world's still not in flames.
Okay.
Uh,
You want me to try to give you a
yeah. Well, I was gonna say
guesstimate
what
percentage?
percentage is the world gonna end while you're alive?
Well,
Just how you feel.
well, the world. I'll make this a little bit simpler and just say like the world as we know it,
Yeah.
like, because this Russia Ukraine thing could potentially spiral out of control enough to where
Man, this thing gets real bad like
sorry.
that. That's cool.
But yeah, the whole Russia Ukraine thing could potentially boil over into a possible World War III situation. It's pretty unlikely, being realistic. But I don't think I could give like a guesstimate percentage on that. I think what I've heard a lot of preppers say is probably what I'd be comfortable saying, which is it likely that the SHTF situation is going to happen in our lifetime? Probably not. Maybe not, or maybe even probably not. But is it possible or I'm sorry, I fucked that whole thing up. Is it likely? Probably not. But is it probable? Definitely. Like, and so basically, like, it's kind of that whole 50-50. Like, the positive side of me wants to be like, yeah, probably not, and then just sit on that and take that time to have some patience and take some deep breaths for the next like maybe year or two that I would normally be prepping, and just allocate all of those funds into things that would move me up the financial ladder, so to speak. But there's just that other 50% of me that's like, you could be really fucking up right now. Like,
Where do you think
it grabs me, man. It's like, you got this right now. Don't fuck this up. Like, just so like, it's like just as much a part of me that's like, you got this right now. Don't fuck this up in the way of, you got this money. Do something with it that will help you grow your future. It's like that other half of me is like, listen, this is you growing your future in another direction possibly, because we don't know. It's like the same way we don't know if we're gonna get into a car accident tomorrow, or if we're like, you know what I'm saying.
So you're saying it's 50-50? That feeling?
I mean, the best way that I could put it, yeah, I'm like half in and half out, and I feel like if I was all in a sense, that I don't know, maybe once I get, and we're still talking like at least 3 to 4 years away, like before I'd really even be able to do this, because there's a lot of skills that I need to acquire first, a lot of things that I need to work on becoming good at in order to be able to do the things out there. You know what I mean? So like, either way though, I think me doing that would give me enough time. Like, okay, I'm doing this now. I'm making my own food. I'm not having to rely as much on stores for certain things that I need in a day-to-day basis. Like, once I got that, and a bunch of other things figured out, the way that would make me a little bit less anxious, I guess. Sorry, that was a little distracting. You can cut that part. I'll say this, and then you can have it. Once I'm able to get myself to that that place where I'm not as worried about day-to-day things, where I can make my own food, make my own other things, et cetera, it'll give me some perspective and some breathing room to be like, okay, is this what I was really even worried about?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I've thought about it so much at this point that that's just always kind of what I'm left with. I go through all the different things in my head. I go through the what if I actually did do this all the way with the, with taking all my money and putting it into Tesla.
Yeah.
What if I really did become, like extremely wealthy or whatever in in a short period of time or whatever. And then I don't know, man. I just, that shorter timeline is always what kind of pulls me back. And for whatever reason, in my mind, I feel like I could get to the homestead goal faster than I could get to the money goal.
We want the instant gratification too.
Yeah, and
because mine isn't instant. Clearly.
I think all the stuff that I've seen between people, like, because I've seen a lot of videos of people who have done it on an almost nothing budget.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, but it can be done. And so, like, if I were to, my brain's like, if I can just get there, then I can do that quicker, and then I can build my life from that. And then once I get to that, because that's like really the big goal. If I can just go ahead and do that now, then I can worry about all my other stuff after that. I think that's what I keep falling into.
So, if we were to boil this down the way I see it, I think you even said this on last podcast. Pretty much, most things in life are fear-based.
Yeah.
So your prepping and my Tesla stock hoarding are both fear-based. Because to me, I'm terrified of working forever. Like, I'm terrified. Like, I feel like I realized that I'm spending all day at a place I don't particularly want to be. And the standard society's explanation or expectation is to work till you're 65. Now it's 67. By the time I'm 67, it's going to be you're working till you're 75 years old. Then you maybe get your Social Security. That doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
That's not a life I want to live. I'm tripped out about consciousness daily, how I'm even here at all. Mm-hmm. So, to me, if the world ends, I might die quick. But the alternative is that I live a life where I die a little bit every day, working something that doesn't mean anything to me. It's part of the reason I started this. Like, I feel better since I've started this, even though it's more stressful. Like, I feel better now than I did when I was just talking about doing it.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said about the whole job thing, I can't even believe that I didn't think to mention that. That's a fucking huge catalyst for this, for me, is like the whole trying to figure out a way that I can do it on this budget that I'm on in the next like 2 to 4 years is like another way of me trying to get out of that rat race, because I fucking hate working at Johnny's, and now we're not making that much anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to go into all that, but that was a huge part. That's a huge part of it, because in my mind, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I could just get to this goal a little bit quicker and do it for a little bit less and on a bit smaller of a scale than I wanted to, and I could learn how to be happy with less. But I would do it on my terms.
I mean,
I think that was a big part of it for me. Is like, I can get out of this quicker if I just learn how to be happy with less, and I can do that. And I'm not talking about living in a fucking one-room shack. Like, all I'll need to do is...
I'm running a one-room shack out back if you want it.
No, thanks. I miss my old one-room shack, if I'm being honest. But no, man, that's where the whole issue of me trying to hurry up and do this, because it's just like, I'm not trying to do it next fucking month, obviously. That's not in the cards. But, in the next 3 to 4 years, if I really put my mind to saving up money for stuff for this, or, for some land or for materials to build stuff out there, like, I can start off like those people that we see on YouTube who go out in the middle of the fucking forest, a dude and his girlfriend, they build a yurt out of shit that's in the woods, and then they grow their own stuff, and it's fucking hard. It's hard. It's a hard living.
Yeah.
I know that. Like, it's no secret to me that there's going to be winters where I have trouble growing food. It's not a surprise to me that I'm going to have to go and get my own water, that I'm going to have to fix my things in my house. I'm not going to be able to call, Joe Schmo to come fix my shit in my apartment because that's part of my contract. It's all going to be on me and and the people who stay on the land with me. Like, I know that. exposed myself to every hard truth about actually living that life that I can, and it keeps sounding better and better. Like, and it's to the point to where I almost feel like, and I feel like since we've been friends, I've kind of went through a couple of different things that I felt like I needed. First it was like the music thing, and then it was quitting smoking, and that's still a pretty big thing. But it's just like, I think getting to a piece of land with people who I'd like to spend, most of my time with, and have like a community with, where we could, live by our own rules and terms instead of fucking society's rules and regulations and shit. And like I said before, not have to worry as much about the just-in-time food and water process, and worry about if some issue that's not even that big of an issue, because that's another thing too. Like, there could be a month where stores don't have any food in them because something happened that hit the news and everybody freaked out and went and panic bought everything out of the stores like it did when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. It could just be simple stuff that we've already gone through with COVID.
Well, that's like emergency preparedness. Like,
at very least type stuff.
I wouldn't have taken it where you'd taken it until I'm way better off financially. But, I mean, I do have food supplies. I do have water supplies. And, we have some semblance of a plan if shit did hit the fan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that you should have at least like 2 weeks worth of water and food for everybody in your house.
The goal standards are at least a month. And if you can get to a month, then 3 months is the next like biggest thing. Yeah. And then after 3 months, you can go up to 6 months, and then a year after that.
So
the golden benchmark for most preppers seems to be like a year. I feel like that's a good thing to have, but it's also like you got to have some fucking storage space for like a year's worth of stuff for even just one person. Like, I think right now I probably have enough, like in the apartment. I probably got, and I'm not going to divulge everything or whatever, but if we weren't to leave the apartment, I think me, my sister, and her boyfriend could probably live in there for maybe like a month and a half.
Okay.
Without for sure, with it like between food and water for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd recommend everybody have some food and water.
Yeah.
That's just, to me, I learned that in Boy Scouts. Emergency preparedness. Like, if something happened, like it doesn't hurt to have like. Then you got people living with absolutely nothing. And a lot of people look at people that prep and think they're just crazy. And I'm like, well, that's just y'all's perspective on it. I mean, there's a lot of truth. And since I learned about the just-in-time system, like, that makes me realize how fragile everything is. Our supply chain is terribly outsourced.
I also feel like there's like there's that stigma of preppers. We're like, we're just sitting in our rooms with a tinfoil hat on, shitting in a bucket and looking up, deep state conspiracy theories all night. Like, I
need to get a tinfoil hat.
It might protect you from them brainwave scanners.
That's what I'm saying. It's the 5G, man.
Them brainwave scanners.
It's the 5G, man. I'm telling you. Your phone causes cancer. You leave it in your pocket too long.
Yeah, so I think
balls fall off.
I think that was probably like the whole job thing was probably the last good point that I wanted to make about the whole, homestead idea becoming a little bit more serious for me, because that idea is just like my way of being able to get to where I'm trying to get to a little bit faster. And it's not like, like I plan to have a life, like once I'm not just going to stay there and hermit myself on the land and never leave. I want to go out and see the world and travel and do stuff, but when I come back home, I'd like to feel like I'm coming back home.
Yeah.
A place where I'm not going to have to worry about other people being too loud for me or me being too loud for other people, or, wondering if the new neighbors are going to be, some psychopathic people who cut motherfuckers up in their apartment.
Yeah.
Or have to, worry about, there's a myriad of things that you could have to worry about living in a regular good old fashioned American neighborhood, whether that be an apartment complex, a blue collar brick house, neighborhood, or a really expensive, classy neighborhood with a bunch of rich people in it. All of those places have their risks.
Yeah.
All of those risks are downed at
Well,
least by 50, 60%.
We're both on the same page. I want a lot of land.
Yeah.
I want a lot of land. I want to learn skills that are fun, but useful. Learning things, developing new skills just feels good. Like starting this podcast, for example, was extremely stressful. I didn't know what I was doing, and it sucked in the moment. But now I feel like I've overcome these things, and I'm just learning and growing, and now I'm trying to refine my skills of speaking, having to keep people entertained, listen, but also offer educational content. And I'm starting to fact check myself after the podcast, or Nick will bring something up, because I recently had this issue where Nick wasn't able to edit the podcast. You know about it. And I'm learning. I just posted a Snapchat about it, and I had one of my friends on Snapchat comment saying that's not Ted Bundy. And I'm like, well, I don't even know what Ted Bundy did. So either way, I look it up. It's Ed Green or Edmund Green? No, Ed Green. And I learned the name of the guy I was referring to, the guy that would cut off women's heads. But yeah, I find this is a educational way to learn and grow, and we're just growth wired. That's why whenever we're sitting at home doing the same shit we've been doing, bored, you just don't feel good when you do it too long. Like, I love video games, but dude, if I wake up and the first thing I do is take Kratom and play video games for 13 hours, my body hurts from laying down or sitting for so long. I have no energy to do anything. So you got to start your day off with a win.
I feel that. I feel that especially because I did what you're fucking talking about today.
Yeah.
I woke up, got high as fuck, and I played video games for a minute. For a fat
I forgot about the podcast.
I did completely. I'm so glad you called me when you did. Honestly, though, this is going really well.
Yeah, I
feel
think
like we've
so.
had some really good stuff so far here.
Well, I was gonna segue this into that war with Russia. What?
Okay.
Instead of telling me your thought, what is your general? Yeah, I guess this is your thoughts. What's your general impression from just watching the media?
Well, I haven't just watched the regular mainstream media. I also watch a couple of the prepper guys that I've.
Have you watched any mainstream media talk about the Russia war? Or
you know what? Not really.
Yeah.
I think the closest thing to that would be when you pull up your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and drag down, and there's those little briefing
Mm-hmm.
things. I've seen a few of those. That's it.
You should watch the
actual some CNN shit or something like
some
that.
legacy media. I keep trying to refer to it as that.
It's just so cringe to me. It's basically kind of like watching.
I like it.
Yeah, I just I can't even watch it in a satirical way and just make light of it because it's so fucking infuriating to me that this is actually this is real news that people, the mass amounts of people are taking in their homes and taking it to people.
We could just be the crazy people, man.
Maybe, man. I don't know. I just.
That's the truth, though. We could just be the crazy ones. We could be the problem.
Open-mindedness coming in, you could be right.
Yeah.
You could. Yeah, I mean.
Everybody thinks they're right.
It's fucking true. You're right. Maybe.
but my parents aren't willing to say that I could be right. Well, not me in particular, but
that's cool. You haven't told me that. All I've heard is how terribly opinion.
No, I was saying if I stated something they disagreed with, they would have a very hard time admitting that they could be wrong.
But they would?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I thought you were saying that they may have their strong. Yeah, I thought what you were saying was they may have their strong opinions, but they will admit that I might be right.
Yeah, I haven't got that. I haven't.
Even got that.
I don't think I haven't engaged that deeply in conversation with them. I just know my dad. Whenever he was like, so you got the podcast going? I was like, yeah. He's like, how many subscribers you got? I was like, 14 at the time. He's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't want me on there. I was like, I don't even want you watching it. I was like, I'm not even saying anything controversial, I don't think. Or maybe I say something controversial as a joke.
Yeah, I was going to say also controversial is
anything these
Isn't
days.
It's relative at this point.
But
controversial depends on what you're saying to who. It
yeah,
depends on the who.
yeah,
that
context,
you're saying it to.
who's listening. But I was like, I don't even want you watching the podcast. You know,
I love you, Dad, but please.
because
both
I told him, I was like, because y'all are radical in y'all's own right, and he's like, we're not radical. I'm like,
Thank you.
radical people don't think they're radical. they think they got the truth.
It's all part of the illusion.
I'm just gonna next time I go over there and pay insurance or whatever, I'm just gonna wear a tinfoil hat and tinfoil hat that says "Make America Great Again."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be really easy to make one too.
yeah, it wouldn't be hard.
Just
I have tinfoil. We could do it now. I got a marker.
Just gonna make America Great Again sticker.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm just gonna take a plain hat and throw the Biden sticker that says I did that on that.
Yeah.
They're like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. I was like, y'all could be right. I ain't looked it up. But I'm not one of them. What I consider, wow, this is gonna be offensive. I don't even know what the word means. I just know it's like an insult, like insult somebody a pleb.
Oh, a slight.
A slight.
A slight. It's like
It's a slight on somebody calling them a pleb.
Wait, wait a second. Hold on. I think I just confused myself. Are you saying that you called your parents a pleb?
I call most people a pleb. I don't know.
What is that?
I just call it a stupid person. Okay, hold on. I don't want to say they're stupid.
I can't give you an answer because I've never even heard the word pleb before.
Okay. This we talked about it with Jordan, and I understand it, right? Now I'm feeling like what I'm saying might be calling Jordan stupid for doing this.
Jordan, we love you. I just want
we
that
have
to be known.
you really are a sweetheart, man. I promise. But it's the idea that we think we know more than we do.
Okay.
So I got into it a little bit. I'm not going to rehash it. There's already a 2-hour-long podcast out where I've tried to explain it.
I can't wait to see, by the way.
It's just saying gas prices. Biden goes in office, gas prices go up. You hear he shut down a pipeline. People make the assumption. Now that there is a rational thought line. They're like, he's now in power. He shut down this pipe. Gas prices are now more expensive. What I'm saying is there is a drastic oversimplification of things, and our brains want to spend less energy on things. So, hey, Biden bad. He made gas prices go up.
Things that make it easier for you to just say, oh, well, that's just simple math.
Yeah, that's simple math. What I'm saying is everybody's simple math is not simple at all.
Yeah, because really, if you haven't done extensive research about the thing that you're talking about, you're basically just generalizing on what your idea of common sense as far as economics goes.
So for me, that's fine. You want to do simple math. I'm sure I do so much simple math that I don't even know I'm doing it. Like, if you analyze my shit, though like I said, I'm either dumb as fuck or I'm hyper rational.
Also, what's simple to you isn't simple to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
relativity.
As far as everybody else, what may be simple for you may be difficult for me. So, yeah, it's like you said, relativity.
So, I guess what I'm saying is fine, do your simple math, but people that done simple math on multiple things are very loud and very opinionated. Like they're so moved by it, and I'm like, but you're 2 inches deep, man. She needs 5, like before you can even have an opinion.
I'm guilty of that shit, hardcore.
We all are, but it's being aware of what we're guilty about.
I'm working on it. I'm working on pulling myself out of it when I get in it.
Well, we got off a little off track, but war with Russia. So what?
Okay.
Just like try to simplify it down. You said you don't think there's really going to be a war.
I don't think that there's going to be a World War III over it.
Okay.
There's most certainly going to be. It's going to pop for sure.
100%. You think it's going to pop?
Oh, 100%. Russia's going to go anytime now. And one of the things that I don't know a whole bunch about a whole bunch of anything, but if there's anything that I do know, it's a few things about slight war tactics, and one of those things is, or a few of those things is that when your enemy thinks you're calm, or when your enemy thinks you're not going to do anything, that's whenever you're going to be the most ready to go. Whenever the enemy thinks that you're far away, you need to be real close. Whenever the enemy thinks that you're close, you need to be far away. Like the whole game of war is a game of who's got the element of surprise. It's all a game of the element of surprise. And whoever has the element of surprise usually ends up getting the most done as far as war goes. But Russia,
that made no sense to me.
Didn't?
I mean, I think I got like maybe what you're trying to say, but like you did lose me a little bit.
Okay,
I'll be honest.
Russia is going to, like, if they're saying they're calming down, they're getting ready to go.
Did they say they're calming down?
I don't know.
I don't think. I think they're ramping up. Like
I think that. There was a whole false flag thing. I am not super clear on what I didn't read any of the stuff that came out about it. Full disclosure, like I didn't read any of the stuff that came with the false flag things. So I don't know if that means that a false flag was talked about, because basically what the
hell's a false flag?
Basically what this was okay. A false flag means Russia was going to pretend that Ukraine did some shit so that they had a reason to go in.
Okay.
So they were going to pretend that's a false flag. So, we seen you do this, this, and this. That gave us a reason to send our troops in.
Makes sense.
So they wanted a reason. They're looking for any, and there was, I don't remember if it was that they didn't actually do a false flag, because then we would have heard that Russia went in at this point. But there was talk about it. And that's pretty much all I got about that. But I know that Russia has invaded a few different places over the last like 15, 20 years that were, God, I'm going to butcher this so terribly. They invaded some places and went to war with a few places that was supposed to, that violated some shit with America. And like, the presidents didn't do anything. The presidents that were in office at the times of these different invasions or whatever, they didn't do anything about it because nobody wanted to really pop things off with Russia.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows what's going to happen if that nuke button gets pressed. Nobody wants that shit. Like, because if something happens and we hop into this Russia and Ukraine thing, if the U.S. hops into it, there was all that issue about basically NATO was kind of directly connected with us.
Yeah.
So if NATO jumped in, that they were going to consider that a direct attack on them through the U.S.
Wait, so you're saying what about NATO considered?
Russia didn't want NATO getting in. From what I know, Russia didn't want NATO getting involved with the situation between them and Ukraine. And they said that if NATO, sorry,
I could clarify some things because I've been looking it up. So my impression from I got my news.
You might
from,
actually be able to help me out with some stuff, because I think you've done more than me at this.
Yeah, I've gone weirdly in depth with my research and different perspectives on this. So it was my impression from what I learned, or what I think I know, is that the U.S. Okay, so give a history lesson, and I'll butcher this too because I literally just learned it, and how much can I really retain? But many, many, many years ago, decades ago, Russia and America had an agreement to where we would not make any countries part of NATO. And like the quote was, not even a mile to the east.
Oh, yeah, Ukraine.
Okay, so over the decades, what we have done is we have ignored that agreement that we had, and we've made many countries a part of NATO. And so a lot of people are saying, and this is probably a contrarian view, is that, not what people are saying. People are saying that he's being aggressive, but really Putin's making a defensive move by doing this with Ukraine, because this is his back door. This is his like front lawn or back lawn or whatever. This is his back door. So we've been pushing closer and closer with countries that are now a part of NATO, which, maybe I'm wrong. Nick will fact check me on this, put it on the screen. But if you declare war with a country that's a part of NATO, all of NATO stands behind that country. So from what I've heard is America's not even interested right now in making Ukraine part of NATO. They're not even eligible. Probably won't even be eligible for a while to be a part of NATO.
I think we sent some weapons over there though.
We have weapons very close to Russia.
Yeah.
Like in all our NATO
Well,
countries that are aligned.
I can't remember if I heard something about we had sent some weapons and some artillery over there to Ukraine
Recently?
You know what? I don't even look. We're just gonna pretend I didn't say that because I really don't. Like, I feel like I either heard that or read that somewhere in passing. At this point, I'm just taking fucking shots in the dark with an accumulation of some things that I've read and some stuff that I've heard people talk about on YouTube videos that they researched.
More than 99.9% of people. Then.
Yes. I everything that I have said here about the Ukraine and Russia thing is all up for discussion. Like,
yeah.
I'm collaging a bunch of stuff
So,
that I've heard and read, which isn't much. So, it. Was there like kind of like a main meat and potatoes?
Yeah, I mean, I was just, I'm taking Alan Watt's step of trying to like paint a picture through different strokes until it's a picture, but with words. So, yeah, I may have lost a little bit, but I do remember this.
I think the original question was, do I think that they're gonna fucking?
Oh yeah, well, okay. So the history lesson was this. It was like a historical context for what got us where we're at. Okay, so if I can recall correctly, there is already 2 countries next to Russia that are part of NATO, and Ukraine is huge. It is a huge part of borders Russia.
Yeah,
Russia's border.
They also have like a bunch of resources and stuff that Russia wants to.
So I don't think Russia wants to invade Ukraine. Russia, and don't get me wrong, like I said, we're both uneducated on this. Russia was asking for an agreement that the U.S. will never make Ukraine part of NATO, and Biden won't do that.
Okay.
So.
Well, I didn't know that.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Well, I hope. Thank you. Hopefully, I'm not wrong.
I know whenever I leave here, I'm going to go home and probably smoke a bunch of weed and pull my laptop out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to, because the next time I come here, I already feel like I've done better.
You're going to pull out your journal and be like, I am ready. You're going to have your you're going to have your works cited page.
Yeah, you already know, because I've come over here with notes before. Like,
thorough. It'll be fun. Yeah. It'll be fun. But, so, nobody really wants war, man.
No.
But I heard an interesting take that from a Russian person, right? Someone that was born and raised in Russia.
Who?
Tom Nash.
I heard some stuff from this guy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, everything he sounded.
He was on not one of the prepper podcasts that I listened to, but another guy who's like an old military vet, and
Who's on?
The fucking God, I can't even remember the dude's name. I think it might have been a Sean Ryan show. I can't remember, but I know that I heard. Oh wait, no. It was from one of the. I think it was the Canadian prepper that did it. Yeah, he was like a guy who had dual citizenship in Russia and America, and he sounded like if he wasn't speaking Russian, he sounded like a white guy.
Yeah, he has no accent.
Yeah, it's clean.
Yeah, so he has some interesting takes. He's like, for a guy like Putin, who's a king, really. Dictator, you can have it all, man. Women, money, respect, fear, whatever, you can have it all. So what is he really after? He's after legacy. So his thoughts were, what if Putin could roll back and get these countries out of NATO, and then because he's 70-year-old.
Damn, he looks good as fuck.
Yeah, dude. I know he does. He's in shape like a motherfucker.
It's Russians, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. They're like, you're like, cold. Let me throw you in ice water. Now you'll know what cold is.
Oh well, also too though, those guys are like they age well because
vodka.
Of the training that these dudes put themselves through. They're just hard fucking people, man. Like. Asian people, they live forever because they just have insane genetics. But like, I think Russian people, they're just fucking hardened animals, man. Like
strong like Russian bear.
Yeah, like what's that video?
So, do you even know all the bad shit Putin's done?
I don't, but I know that I've heard him being referred to as a monster. I've heard him been referred to as a murderer.
I wonder how many.
As,
Comment below if y'all heard how bad Putin is, but don't even know a single bad thing that he's done. Because I'd had to look it up.
I'm on
like,
that list.
I'm like, he's a bad guy. I don't know
like,
what you did, sir.
I just don't have the I don't have.
But you're not a good guy.
I don't have the mental energy to put the time into doing all the research on all these other
You
people when I'm trying to like.
Oh man, dude, I'm so glad I got into this, man. This was something I want to like dive deeper on a YouTube video whenever I start uploading. So it has to do with, God, maybe it needs to be its own YouTube video because I get over. There's way too many angles I'm gonna try to like cover. But essentially, the meat and potatoes, as you put it, there's no time to educate yourself. Okay? Like, there is no time.
You mean just as far as spare time?
I work.
Yeah, okay.
I work less than the average American, okay? And I still find it hard to have the energy, the time, or the focus to do that. And I like to think that I've improved a lot on my focus and my energy levels through, diet and exercise.
Man, the only way that I feel like that we would really be able to retain what we would need to would be would be if we had some sort of schedule like we used to have in school, where your whole prime job is to just do this. That your job is to go to school during the day. You go home, do some studying, some homework, get as much rest as your body could possibly need, so that you're properly fueled to do it all fucking day again the next day. Because like. Sometimes it gets a little bit exhaustive, but just like you were saying, for me personally, it seems like the best way that I learn stuff is when I have all fucking day to do it.
Yeah.
Like if there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on and you gotta squeeze in time to learn stuff. So
here, can be a callback to what we were talking about earlier about simple math.
Yeah.
That's easiest. I don't have to dig deep into that. That seems easy, but people have the problem of oversimplifying everything. We're so interconnected now. Society, it's insane. Everything is connected to everything. So the idea that after working let's say most people have kids. Well, I don't know that. That's just made up. Maybe. I don't know. But let's give an example. You work 40 hours a week, you're married or you got a girlfriend, and you have a kid or two. Where is the time to educate yourself? And then you have news that are so biased, like news sources that are so biased. So what's the responsible thing to do? It's to get multiple news sources, learn how to read people, hold accountable. Probably should be taking notes to see who's more trustworthy. And then at the end of the day, we're still operating off of intuition. But most people aren't going to do that. They're just going to go off their simple math. They're going to go off of what they were raised to believe. Where's the time in the day, man? You got to eat. You got to sleep. You got to take care of your kids. I don't even have kids, and I find it different. Dude, if I had kids, politics is now no longer part of the discussion right now. Not if I have a job. How?
I mean, you named, like I was counting just the things that when you were naming stuff off a second ago, you named off 4 different things that you would have to get decent at in order to figure out if the information that you're looking up is even worth fucking like believing.
Yeah.
So like just to even if you had the time, even if you had a little bit of time that you could make, you got to master at least 3 to 5 different skills just to make sure that the information that you're putting in your brain is quality information that's not going to make you look stupid in a conversation with somebody. Like to make sure that you're getting adequate education for yourself, you got to go through some trial and error, and you got to figure out how to fact check your sources. You got to figure out how to fact check your fact checking sources. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
it'd just be easier to just listen to the news source that you either told was good from someone you trust, and
that's usually squeezed into. Sorry to cut you off, but that shit's usually squeezed into most people's schedule anyway.
Yeah,
watching the
news.
That's
perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, it's almost a hopeless endeavor. I'm not saying I'm optimistic about the world, but
That's why I just want to go live in the fucking woods and say fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Because at that point,
you can't do that,
whatever.
man. You need
I
money to
can.
go live in the woods.
I'm working on it, all right? I'll sell all the crack I need to.
He's kidding. Did you wink too?
I didn't. I should have.
Did I even wink? I might have just blinked for a little longer than usual. So, Angelo, what do you think makes a happy life?
That's a big question.
It's only as big as you want it to be.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Nah, I wish that was the case.
A happy life, man. People that care about you. I think that's probably a really good starting point. Having people close by that care about you, good people that you love and that you can really trust, being close by. You know, if not living in a little homestead community with you close by. You know, people that aren't people that are a little closer than a phone call away.
So,
you know?
happy life really is friendship.
Yeah, good friendship, good relationships with people, whether that be blood or friendship. You know, because honestly, to me, at a certain point, friendship, for me at a certain point, trying to separate family from friends by saying blood is stupid at a certain point to me. Like I'm closer to you than I am probably like 80% of my family. Like I
100%.
I would
for
easily,
me.
there's a family member that I have in my mind right now who I'm blood related to, and I'd kill that motherfucker for you. I'd shoot him right in the fucking face. Like, and I don't know if that says more about me or what, but like, I'm just like, so, you know, I think good people who you really care about, whether that be family or friends, people who you know have your back and who, basically somebody who you could trust your life with and who you know they could trust their life with you.
Yeah.
So that's first and foremost, I think. I think pretty much everything after that is kind of almost irrelevant. Because at that point, if you have good people around you, it almost doesn't really matter where you live. It almost doesn't matter what you have.
You got someone there for you.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like the saying, having 6 people with 1 beer each is way funner than 1 person with 6 beers.
Oh, that's so true.
Right?
I can think.
So, yeah. So I mean, I think I'd rather have a bowl to share with 3 or 4 of my good friends than have a fucking ounce of weed for just myself. Like,
It's making me think. You know, man, I'm a flip-flop emotional guy. Like, a lot of the times I don't feel emotional, and then my emotions, like tears will just come out of my eyes. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I should probably be more in tune. You know exactly what I'm talking
it
about.
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, definitely more than me, but it is interesting that, you know, talking to you, I don't know what you said exactly, but it was like I didn't know what friendship could be like.
At some point I remember saying, even if I don't remember exactly what I said, I still remember exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
What I meant. Like, before I met you, I never had any friends who reciprocated my friendship the way that I always had with every other friend that I've had. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been fucked over so many times by people who I thought were my friends the way that you are. And they really weren't, because they never had the mental capacity to even understand the first thing about what that type of friendship would entail. Sacrifices that you'd be willing to make for somebody else.
Yeah.
Honesty that you'd have with that person under any fucking circumstances. Having that person's back in the worst of possible situations when nobody else fucking gives a shit for you, when nobody else has got you, like, and when you're pissed the fuck off at each other.
Yeah.
When you don't even want to be around each other, and you get mad at yourself for being that mad at that person. Because that's been me a bunch of times. I've been so pissed off at myself for how mad I was at you about certain things when in the grand scheme of things, that shit was just so insignificant. So, like, nobody else. I've always reciprocated my loyalty and my friendship to other people in a way that has never been returned back to me. And you've been the only person who I've ever been able to call a true friend and therefore a lifelong brother who would ever actually show me what I've given in return.
Damn, I had something I was planning to say, but
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely right here with you, man.
So
right here with you, dude.
yeah, so I that's
like to me, like I'm honored that you
too.
feel that.
Sometimes I'm like, man, I don't know why this guy likes me so much. like it's like a whole bunch of different times where, like, you know, you've said things to me like, man, if anybody's got that fucking privilege, it's you. Like, nobody else gets that. I've been a bunch of times where you've said that to me or around me, and I've just been like, man, I don't know how the fuck I got that honor. Like,
Well,
I guess that's
like shout out to Trevor too.
dude, shout out to fucking Big T, man.
Yeah,
Big Trev.
Big T, man. Got body slammed right here by him.
Right here.
Yeah, man. He said the same thing or something along the same lines too, man. And like, it, like, you know, I don't even have like words to respond when somebody says something that kind and
Yeah.
like and genuine to me. Like, I'm almost like, thank you's not enough, but thank you doesn't even feel right. You know, just like understood.
Yeah, just like nothing else really needs to be said at this point. The English language doesn't contain the words that we would need to express.
I understand. You know,
it's like that shit in Avatar. I see you.
Yeah, I see you.
It's
I like that
when
one.
the guy's like explaining how to speak the language to the other dude. He's like, no, it's not like I see you in front of me. Like, I see into you. I see you. Like, that shit was definitely dope. But I feel like that's a good example of that. It's just like the words. The words are just noise.
Yeah, just noise to the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, you know, I'm honored, like, with you and Trevor and just, you know, even, you know, Austin, you know, he says.
Fucking, like, one of my biggest worries and concerns was, like, man, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what if I get this homestead thing going and Timer's not ready yet? Like, I was like, I'm going to have to go without him. I don't know if I,
Are you talking about doing the homestead in Louisiana?
Well, I mean, originally, like, okay, because my buddy's got a piece of land in the state. And, I don't want to say where, but, like, yeah, that's probably where it's going to start. But the other two people who I was talking to were like, you know, and I brought this up to my buddy who's got the land, and he was like, yeah, I feel that. They were like, you know, we don't fucking want to start, like, we're down for sure, but we don't want to start it in this area where he's got his land at. Because honestly, I'll be real, it's kind of ugly out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, Louisiana doesn't exactly have the most top-notch year-round weather. So it's like they were like, yeah, I'm definitely down for the dream, but if we're going to do it, let's do it in a place that's a little bit more pleasant, basically.
Well, that's what, like, I'm thinking, like, Colorado or Oregon.
That's, yeah, they were saying they want to go somewhere a little bit more north,
but
and I was like, I'm with that.
I want the off-grid with, like, 90% of the amenities on-grid.
Well, see, that's the other thing, too, though, like, if I did do this before you got your stuff popped off, like, it's not like we're going to be losing contact or anything.
Yeah.
And at that rate, I'll already have a whole bunch of the skills locked in by then, because I'll have been doing
you can come to my grandiose land in a beautiful spot.
We can, like, migrate to your spot because it's more land, and we'll be able to help with more stuff. You will be able to learn more shit from us because we'll have been doing it for a while already.
Yeah.
So there will be some things that I'll have been able to troubleshoot, some kinks that I'll have been able to work out. Like, so yeah, actually, that's actually making me feel really good right now.
Man, I wanna get back to, I don't know how this is gonna be edited or whatever, but you know, just
it's the friendship thing.
Yeah, talking about that. Like, the fact that I've had multiple people tell me that now makes me wonder what level of like friendship is, like, connection really people are having, man.
Like, is it like making you feel like, am I this good of a person, or are these people just really encountering this many other shitty relationships? Like, is that like what you mean? Like, or just like,
It's I wouldn't say it's like I'm just that good of a person, because I really stopped buying into that shit. But for I know, look, people argue with me
I
like,
think
no,
it
you
holds
could.
value.
Well, I mean, like I'm not gonna get down that rabbit hole again. But yeah, I mean, like superficially, I think I'm a good person, but I don't. I don't care if I'm a good person or not.
When you say superficially, do you mean like on paper as far as everybody else is concerned?
Yeah, like if everybody thinks I'm a good person, I mean that's just their opinion of me. There's probably like one or two people out there that don't think I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I mean I've done some fucked up shit.
I don't
You
know.
know.
Personally, I don't know. I think you're kind of fucking shitty.
Yeah, it's about time someone was being honest with me.
I'll let you know, man. You're a grade A piece of shit.
Yeah, see, I just do me 24/7 pretty much. It just so happens that I'm the sort of character that people like for the most part, most of the time.
It's kind of
But
hit or miss for me.
yeah, yeah, I should be buying more prep gear. But man, yeah, I don't. It makes me wonder. Like I'm trying to like map it out in my head right now about friendship. Like what friendship meant to you, you weren't finding in other people. But whenever we have, eventually started talking and getting closer, like you found it in me. So in a way, like there's a bar for what, like how, like, because I wonder, because there's so many people that seem like they're in a great friendship, but they're like, they'll fall out, and I'm like, just because you think you're in a good friendship doesn't mean you are in a good friendship. But like I do consider there like levels to like learning and understanding people and gauging how your relationship is actually doing.
It took a lot of trial and error for me before I could actually figure out what actually was a good relationship for me as far as friends go and what wasn't.
Yeah.
It took a lot of fuckovers. It took a lot of learning how people work, and most of that was like negative learning experiences, figuring out what I didn't want out of friendships.
Yeah.
That was probably most of it.
That was like my drug dealing lifestyle, where I had a bunch of people that acted super close to me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that was just to get better deals or something. Maybe it was, but I felt like I had a family of people at one point, and then after I got out of jail, I felt alone, and that was like my lowest. And like I didn't have any money. My dad had to give me $20 just to get some food. Yeah, man, that. I don't get a little sidetracked, but like that, it is really painful when you think you have something but you don't.
I don't think that could be more on topic. Thinking that you have people that are loyal to you and that'll help you in situations when you really need them, and then not having them when you need them most will put shit in perspective for you real quick as far as bad relationships go. It'll burn you the right way for the longest time. And what I mean by that is that lesson you learned, the negative way about what you don't want out of people, will stick with you for the longest.
Yeah.
And I think me and you, that's probably why it was so difficult for you to open up to me and for me to open up to you.
Yeah.
Because we had already been through that fucking race a bunch of times with enough different people to where it was like, at this point, it's not even worth the fucking investment. You're going to have to work for this.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And
can we
both worked for it.
Can we just appreciate how we are now, though?
God, just so much has changed. It's nice.
Yeah, because, man, I was so closed off and defensive.
Because a lot's changed over the past 4 years, man.
So different.
Like, up here, dude, I'm like a different person 2 times over at this point. Like, I still got plenty of things that I want to work on. But compared to how I dealt with things, how I thought about things, all that, like, it's so different.
My subtle manipulations have been working.
Hey, they've been helping. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I'll cut my hand for the cult anytime.
Oh, God.
You can, too, for a price.
Mad Chatter, 10% off hand cutting services.
If you use your own knife, that's an extra 10% off.
No, it's not. We got to supply
not?
the knife. We got to make more money. It's
Sorry,
all we get a bundle package.
I didn't read the fine print. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well,
That's false advertisement.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Man, oh man. Well, shit.
I definitely feel like we got some good stuff on this one.
Hell yeah. You want to keep going?
Honestly, I can. If we can get one more good topic out there, because I feel like there's been a bunch of stuff over the last 20 minutes that's probably going to get cut.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get one more good topic out, we could probably call this a Sunday.
I'm feeling a little burnt, honestly. Yeah.
Okay.
But so let's just do an outro or whatever.
An outro?
Yeah. How the
Okay.
fuck do we do an outro?
Well,
I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions, and
we're gonna end it how we started it. Well, you know what? I'd like to throw this in there. I think we've definitely got some good stuff out there for this one. But for future reference, if anybody's got any ideas of topics that you guys might want to hear us talk about, put those in the comments because that'll help out a bunch.
Yes, please.
And it'll make it more relevant to anybody's, anybody or everybody's life who's listening to it, which I know is not a bunch of you. So give us some ideas in the comments, man. I know y'all can do that.
Also, I want to thank everybody that watches this thing. Like, even if you watch 5 minutes of it, really fucking appreciated. Like, to me, somebody giving me their time or the chance to even speak is one of the greatest compliments anybody can give me, is giving me their most limited resource, which is time. So I just want to thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and helping me take this journey together. So shout out to all y'all. And if you think I might be talking about you, I am. Trust me. And if y'all made it to the end of this video, I fucking love you. I mean, I love you anyways, but now I really love you. But Angelo, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a pleasure.
We're gonna do that.
Yeah, because
we're gonna keep it awkward for our people, man.
Yeah, nothing like shaking a 4-year-long friend's hand like you just met him.
The microphone.
Yeah, that's true.
Jordan shook my hand last time like that. But y'all have a great fucking night. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks for watching, ladies.